Welcome aboard. This is Simon here from the Wells of Wall Street. I hope you are all doing well. Today we are going through a very interesting topic, which is around real estate. I have done a video on one of these before. I will leave a link towards the end of this video so you can see more information about the particular one that I'm going to mention now. The other two are additions that I've added, and I've kind of combined this to be essentially what I perceive to be the top three in terms of blockchain and crypto assets that you can obtain that are related to real estate. Okay, so without further ado, let's go straight into these projects. We're going to start with the first one here, Elysia. Okay, so at the moment, we will go into charts of each of these three at the end as well. But in general, these guys are around sort of peer-to-peer kind of marketplace for resellers, buyers and sellers as well in terms of real estate. So very much interesting around how real estate is going to be essentially evolving over the next few years. And there's going to be programs and projects like this that are essentially trying to remove intermediaries, the high costs of brokerage, and real estate kind of application that you have in today's world. So allowing you to essentially, particularly with Elysia, invest in real estate projects across the world. So if you think about it, always think when we're looking at decentralization and the way blockchain works and tokenomics, etc. Imagine you're sitting here and you want to buy something abroad, but you don't really have any idea of how to do it, or the fees are massive, but you have some cash, whether it be inherited or something that you've accumulated or something you've been saving for, and then you have the ability to utilize a program like Elysia to essentially go and purchase any kind of assets. Now, obviously, you have to have a big chunk of money to kind of buy big blocks of apartments and things like this in as a whole across the world. But of course, as this develops, you'll start seeing mansions, bigger houses and things like that. The other projects we'll talk about in a moment are perhaps more for residential as well. But I'm trying to open the eyes of the ideology around how this can all work. So it's very much the token of Elysia used for the transactions, the registry requirements, all of these kind of things that you can anticipate with the usual investment sale of buying or selling an asset or an investment asset of property in your country or around the world. So it's very interesting how this is all going to work. And there isn't a gigantic amount of information on these particular websites at the moment. And that's because really it's quite a new concept, a new opportunity. So here you've got, for example, here, Elysia creates contracts that convert real-world assets into non-fungible tokens. So this is very cool. So this is essentially digitalizing, using blockchain technology. So when we talk about blockchain and smart contracts and things like this, if you think about all the data that's captured within blockchain, so the transactional data, the hash data, things like how many times this house has been sold. If you look at the bigger picture of this, right, when you have an estate agent come over and evaluate your house and this, that, and the other, and they sort of scratch their head and yes, we think it's going to be worth this or this. And most of the time it's just made up based on a house they sold down the road, and they just accumulate that as the idea. Well, actually, blockchain takes it another level. And I've seen this in multiple sectors now, but imagine your house, let's say 50 years time, and you want the historic data that's factual and everything like that. So you don't have to scour the internet for different valuations and Zoopla and all this. I'm sure in other countries are different things like Rightmove, etc. You can actually just have it within a system of blockchain. So it's accurate, it's not manipulated, this, that, and the other. It goes around with the algorithm of the market in general as well. So buying and selling property becomes even more lucrative because you have an honest answer, a simple, quick, efficient, less cost answer. No surveys needed or anything like this. Anything that you do to your house will be recorded on blockchain as well. So there's loads of awesome applications to how blockchain can affect the real estate sector. So very much around smart contracts, creating a digitalization of not only the contractual elements and the admin elements of buying and selling, but also the actual house itself. So you're literally, when you're ready to sell or buy, you're essentially accessing a system that is going to be done digitally. You're cutting out maybe 2-3 months of real estate work and doing it potentially within one day. Imagine that. Oh yeah, we like this house, going on your viewing, and then you go and actually buy and potentially move in the next week because it's all done. It's all coordinated and contractual. Know your customer elements, all of this secure elements of blockchain, the security element, as we just said, the element of contracts, admin contracts, all of these intermediaries that sit in the middle, solicitors and things like this, can all be done through this element. Now, in terms of as I mentioned with the tokenomics, of course, they're used for like governance, the transactions, all of these kind of things. And as more and more people come onto this platform and start utilizing these kind of actions, this is where it all takes off. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's loads of staking opportunities potentially coming as well, if not already. We just have to check. So I think you have to download the LeFi app, so you can actually do your staking on there. So do check that out. And we will do more videos on this as we go along, including chart analysis as well. But I just think this is so under the radar, this concept and this idea around real estate being moved into blockchain. And it's kind of really cool because I knew about Proppy ages ago, and we'll go on to Proppy in a second because there's a bit of a background story as to my involvings with that, or lack of in that element. But I just think, like, these are the kind of things that you want to potentially, this is not financial advice, of course, but from my opinion, something that you want to be looking at, because in the next 5-10 years, real estate will be going down the blockchain route. I have no doubt about it, and beyond as well. So to pick these things up at these ridiculous, not necessarily the ridiculous prices, because you've got to factor in things like market cap and supply, etc., of course. But what I'm getting at is, as this develops, and if you think about institutional wealth coming into this kind of thing, and imagine like all the rich billionaires and stuff going, oh, what, I can save even more money. Oh, how do I do that? Blockchain, brilliant, sign me up. That's how it's all going to happen. It's not just from the residential and domestic markets, it's about the big players as well. The whales of real estate. Maybe I have to do another channel called Whales of Real Estate or something to push these more. But do have a look at all of this stuff here. So here's a look at some interesting information about the mining currently of Elfi. So look, it's just going up and up all the time, of course, as anticipated. But yeah, staking APR on the second round, 74%. Mental. That is crazy. So it's definitely something to look at. By the way, you can get Elysia tokens on Bit Global currently, and also Uniswap. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail. So I'm going to wrap up LeFi there. We can always do like a bit more of an update on that as we go along. So we can literally kind of go through the next one, to be honest. I just think this is absolutely phenomenal opportunity for the real estate market. So let's go into the next one, which is Labs. Now, Labs do need to do a lot more work on their website. However, what I do like about them is they've got some really good information in terms of white papers, which we'll go on to in a second. But Labs is a similar prospect, but it's more not necessarily like Elysia, where that's more not only investment but buyers and sellers. Labs is more geared to essentially people who are real estate investors. So it's purely around that sector element. Not just with homes as well, but also things like package holidays and things like this, package locational trips, etc., camping sites, opportunities like that. So the whole tokenomics can work with that as well. And on the point of tokenization, so these guys are basically trying to solve the liquidity issues and open investment to everyone. So not just the billionaires, the millionaires, but people like potentially you and I. I don't know who's got what money. Everyone's money is value. Everyone's principal housing value is different as well. But the ability for anyone and everyone to utilize projects like Labs Group to be an investor in real estate, whether that's partial ownership or full ownership, is one thing that people decide along the way, of course. But what I like here is essentially around the tokenomics element here. So this is what I was saying. So allowing people to to swap investment or property, over-the-counter opportunities as well. But it takes care of all of this. The securities exchange. So again, back to smart contracts of real estate. The swap marketplace. What I mentioned earlier about Alicia, know your customer. Once you've got these principles in place within smart contract, you do not need people like solicitors or real estate agents and things like this. Because I always find, right, with loads of different applications around the world and sectors, they've kind of rested on their laurels and taken the mickey a bit in terms of greed or just that general. I'm not saying they do it on purpose or anything. Of course, everyone has their own business model and reasons for profit, etc. But I do kind of feel in some aspects of sectors, especially housing, a lot of people get ripped off, with like interest or with the cost of things like, oh yeah, well, yeah, you can have this house, but you have to spend like 10 grand on stamp duties and also solicitor fees and this, that and the other. And it's like, well, I've just worked my rear end off and I've still got to put a load more in for all these additional admin nonsense. And it's small admin nonsense, literally like awful things on the contract that you see, like, oh yeah, £100 charge because we had to print something and someone had to walk to the printer to collect it. Like, that's what I don't like, all of this sort of stuff. So back to topic. So you got lending as well. So in terms of contractual smart contract lending opportunities, so even if you can't invest wholly, you got obviously mortgage opportunities, lending opportunities. In fact, think about this. Leveraging your NFTs elsewhere into property. So let's say you've got something like a piece of digital art that you've got on an NFT. You could ledger that as an application to go, well, I don't actually have the cash or the crypto, unfortunately, to pay for all of this, but I do have this NFT, like the Lionel Messi one, for example, that went for 9.6 million recently. Imagine putting that towards a home and saying, look, this is the value. It's proven value because of contractual validation, etc., through the NFT platforms and the creation of it. I would like to leverage that, please. Imagine, not even imagine, this is what's happening. This is why I'm getting so excited and bubbled up about all this. It's amazing. And so actually the Labs token is very much around governance, so about staking, about validation, voting, on improvements of the platform, etc., like you would normally with any other kind of governance kind of tokens. They have staking reward opportunities as well, so very much looking into that, definitely. Labs stable token, so this is used as security token to collateral to issue the very first real estate. So this is just going in a bit of a history, and then how they establish what they're doing. And as I mentioned, NFTs to represent physical assets. This is incredible. Like, I honestly hope that all of you are finding this interesting and actually go, I never thought about real estate, or maybe you have already and you never sort of thought what projects are out there to do it. And hopefully this video brings that to your attention. Revenues like digitalization of property, token issuance, fundraising, legal, structuring, transaction fees, all the things I just mentioned. Like, think about it. It's incredible. And it's so early. This is the crazy thing. Like, we'll go into the charts as mentioned. The prices are ridiculous. Yes, supplies are high, but imagine 5-10 years time down the line when that supply substantially reduces and things like this. You've got the staking opportunities in the bear markets and whatnot. Absolutely incredible. So that's kind of like a brief introduction to Labs Group, which are absolutely fantastic. Again, the website is something that they need to improve, of course. But you've got the whole like the NFT trading aspect as well. Their website's a bit trash. So when you're looking at these as potential research investments, sometimes you just sit there and go, cool, I love the concept, but I'm going to wait a bit. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with Labs personally. I'm just waiting to see. But this next one, Proppy, which we're going to now, is one I absolutely massively missed out on at the beginning of the year. I couldn't be bothered to sign up to the Huobi exchange, the Korean one, to get these tokens, and I regretted it massively in the last recent run. Again, we'll go to that in a moment on the chart. But Proppy, very much similar. However, I truly believe that this is very much around anyone and everyone. This is, in my opinion, one of the most favorite ones out of the whole three, personally. Not just because of accessibility to the tokens, but one, partnerships, two, the actual ability of domestic applications. So I just want simplicity of buying, selling houses. I'm not going to go for mansions yet. on all these kind of things. And bear in mind, this can activate to other real estate elements as well, like boats and things like that, eventually down the road. So bear that in mind. But imagine just like, oh yeah, I've seen a house and it's on this blockchain, fantastic, off you go. Think of like Purple Bricks, and I'm sure there's like different variations in different countries. Purple Bricks is basically like an online platform that is replacing estate agents. So it's already kind of happening in that aspect of replacing the traditional real estate estate agent application. Purple Bricks has taken that to a level. This is taking it to another level in the sense that I don't even need to talk to them. I'm just going to do it with the other person and go, yeah, we're on blockchain, NFT our properties, off we go. It's mental. There's obviously different pricing structures and things like that. Definitely check out this website, it's really cool. And as I said, I have done a full intro video on Propy earlier this year, and I will put a link to that at the end of this. But again, offers, transactions, know your customer, smart contracts, all of these applications to enhance the way that we do things. Here's something interesting. Propy was awarded as technology pioneer by the World Economic Forum. Sorry, but when you have things like the World Economic Forum, actually promoting you and rewarding you with recognition, you need to wake up to these kind of things, because the World Economic Forum, I've got many theories around them, but majority of it is you have to just admit that the World Economic Forum is probably the biggest powerhouse in the world right now, including the United Nations, to make things happen in the world. Control governments, control policy, etc. This is made up of a massive amount of rich people, very powerful people and knowledgeable people as well. And when they start activating and promoting these kind of things, it's almost like, that whole like saying like do what they do, not what they say kind of thing. And, mention these kind of, it's like they're giving people a sign and going, guys, we're secretly telling you that these kind of things are the next big thing. And we're talking about them because it will improve the green aspect of transactions. Less admin, less paperwork, blah, 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 time, consumption, the whole economic value of real estate. Also, all of these kind of things, AI, robotics, blockchain technology. Why are these things important? Because when you're looking at IoT and things like that, when I went back about the conversation about how much is your property value worth, and when you start adding things like smart home stuff and IoT applications or electrical vehicle charging units and things like this, it all starts getting into the same grid. Blockchain is about creating a gigantic ecosystem that is unfathomable in people's minds at the moment, of how big this can actually be and how autonomous, how linked up it can be. All on one system, algorithm, AI, literally machine to machine learning, person to machine learning, all of this coming together. And from real estate application, it is an absolute gem, Like, it's like we're scrounging around a load of rocks right now, and we're literally about to find a load of diamonds that in 5-10 years time are going to be absolutely massive. I guarantee it for sure. So do check out Propy as well. But this, it's just incredible. They've got some fantastic PR activity going on, and what they're trying to achieve. The guys behind this are absolutely fantastic. You've got these fantastic ladies here. So these are actually the founders, and the last video I was trying to pronounce their names. Hopefully I did a good job of that. But Natalia, Karyaneva, and Denitsa, maybe? I'm sorry, I can't do that part. But these are pioneers, yeah? These are have backgrounds in real estate. Absolutely fantastic people who are involved in these projects, and that's what I love about it. It's just sometimes we're negative about humanity, but actually there's so many clever people out there, like these people, individuals who are just taking the world to another level with fantastic innovation and ideas, and I fully commend that. It's absolutely brilliant to help the world. Very much around brokerage, removing that intermediary and making it more accessible to anyone and everyone, including people perhaps who have been unmortgageable. When we talk about unbankable with crypto term, all the people that haven't been able to get houses for one way or another, but they might have the ability to because they're leveraging things like NFTs, things that they've never been able to. And it might even eliminate that whole credit score nonsense. Credit score nonsense is basically trying to promote you to go and take out more credit, get in more debt. It's an obscene system that I'm so fed up with, which is why I massively welcome things like this and the blockchain system and the ecosystem. I truly believe in crypto, and I'm sure you do as well. Not just to make money, but to make the world more fair and better. And that is one of the key aspects of World Economic Forum, to try and create the diversity and the sustainability factor, and make it more equality in the world. I'm sick and tired of seeing all the negative news around the world and all the people in poverty and depression. Like, this is our chance, the power to the people. You know what I mean? And with real estate, giving people the opportunity through other means to try and obtain property, not have the costs of it. And this is what I want to see more of. So guys, that's a very quick intro to all of those. I hope you found that interesting. If anything, not necessary to just invest in them, but please also think about, the opportunities. The actual concept of it all is absolutely phenomenal. I'm really excited to see how this all grows and moves forward, to be honest. Before we go on to the charts, please make sure you like the video if you found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, and press the awesome bell button as well to make sure you get the updates as and when we send them out. Into the charts, let's go. So we will start off quickly with Proppy here. So nothing majorly exciting, other than when I mentioned earlier about missing out on the opportunity. I think it was like February time. It was next to nothing on the chart. And it shot straight up over that period of time into May, around to $1.52, I think was one of the highest aspects. But we've dropped majorly back down here now. There's a lot of news around this area to indicate that. But it's very steady. And I think if you're looking back at trying to get back to this opportunity, absolutely can definitely potentially happen. This next cycle and run. You've got a lot of dots here. There's not a lot of money flowing in and out of this. That's why I'm talking about long-term aspect, but it's an opportunity to potentially accumulate some really good buying opportunities down here for the future, and get involved in those staking opportunities as well. So there's not much data here to talk about in terms of like buying and selling capabilities. The RSI is low, so it's a very good opportunity if you are looking at trading this up and down in the short term. There's an opportunity to buy now and get some potential profits as we go along. The MACD is showing a bearish momentum, which we can obviously see in that little drop down here. But like I said, I'm not paying too much attention to the algorithm of the charts at the moment because of its opportunity in the future. We will update this perhaps monthly, because I don't think there's going to be two major movements in this short period of time. But that is the state of Proppy at the moment, as I mentioned earlier. So that's available on the Huobi option as well. And I think it is on Uniswap as well. Let's double check that, but have a look for yourselves. Labs Group. So again, had a launch back here on KuCoin. Nothing major to kind of report other than this fantastic increase here since around the 22nd, 23rd of August. We're sitting pretty at around 2 cents. So Labs at the moment is a market cap of $45 million and a 10 billion supply. So there's plenty available, but do bear in mind about the burning economics and the usability of those for transactions, as we mentioned earlier, liquidity, and the using it essentially for the transactions and everything as well. So do think about that. It's available on KuCoin, Gate, and Uniswap currently, in a good positive momentum here. So if you are buying, just be cautious, because there's not a massive amount of room left in the RSI. I would anticipate this a bit of a drop off for profit taking, and then you might want to consider some purchases, maybe hitting back down just under the 2 cent mark. But hopefully it's one of those that's just going to start taking off again. And I think as more and more people get aware of this space, absolutely going to take off. So it's in a good buying momentum for Labs. And like I said, we'll do a proper analysis on these in the coming weeks. I just want to do a top line for you guys, because we are dragging on here in this video. And again, with Alicia, again, one of the favorite ones of this top three, sitting under 1 cent at the moment. We had the highs here of a few announcements way back at 5 cents. So there's a possibility that we could get back to those levels in the next cycle if things go well. But do keep an eye on it. Again, the volumes aren't gigantic, of course, and I just generally believe that that's because of awareness of these kind of sectors. And for me, I'm not fussed. I find it quite interesting when they're not talked about and you can see the potential of them. That's the whole point of research. Do your own research. because I think eventually in the years to come, not just these three, I'm sure there'll be more, and there are others out there. I've just picked these two top three because I think they're quite different in certain ways and very exciting. But I do think that in the future the volumes will for sure start coming in when all the institutions and the big real estate companies start realizing the potential of blockchain and real estate and NFTs. So it's not just these direct real estates. I'm sure other chain mechanisms like Cardano, etc., can manipulate their smart contracts and things to apply to things like the real estate. But if you've got a dedicated real estate opportunities, these are those to look at for sure. So in general for Alicia, available on BitGlobal and Uniswap, I believe, market cap of $21 million and a 6.8 billion supply. So again, it's one of those that's got loads in the tank for the future. So that's a quick wrap up, guys. I hope you found this relatively informative. I know it's a bit of a long one, but I had to bring these to your attention to at least think about. I'm saying this is not financial advice. I'm not saying you should definitely go and get these, but just think of the concept of blockchain with real estate. These are my top three picks. Go and see if there's any others out for yourselves as well. But these are certainly ones to look out for in the near future. I hope you have found this fun and interesting, and we will just leave it there, to be honest, and hope that we see you guys and all these awesome real estate projects in the future in the next one. Goodbye.